Oh, God. Yeah, this is Rick, and you're listening to Utah Music Radio. Fucking shit.
Okay, here we go. Johnny C. and Mateo. Utah Music Radio.
Listening to Radio.
So let's get back into that for just a second. So AI, what do you think AI is going to do to the radio industry? Where do you see AI going?
I mean, it's already there. iHeart uses it. A lot of companies use it. Like if you ever listen to any iHeart radio station, it's you'll hear that little robot lady voice. It's like Fall Out Boy. And then it'll say the name. Oh yeah, like that's.
But I mean, like I think it's getting to a point that it could be like a DJ, someone just typing in.
100%. Yeah, they could just program somebody to talk. Yeah. And I'm gonna tell you right now, like what I was saying before our break is that radio is always going to be there, right? Because the radio waves, it's always going to be. It's just how it's going to be done is different. Right?
We'll never get rid of radio. No, there was a scare for a while, and you put a big fucking scare, John. Into a lot of different stations, and you really, really, really did. And I was called a direct threat to the industry. Yeah, and it was. I mean, I'll just say them because I mean,
who cares a shit?
But where they're at now, I feel bad. But
don't feel bad. Fuck them.
At the time, they actually sounded, they were doing okay. But it was K-Bear.
Yep.
And what ended up happening with them is. What I wanted to do was when I had a good local band submit music that was radio ready, that was top quality, I kind of wanted to be the middleman and say, hey, this is something that's really good that you should put in the mainstream. This is, put it at 5 o'clock, put it at 7 o'clock at least, somewhere during the daytime. Man, I called, I just got ghosted, and then I'd call back, and I'd call back. Finally, I got the name of the...
promotional executive.
No, it was the station manager.
Station programmer.
Yeah, and he...
program director.
Program director,
And I said to him, I'm like going, hey, here's my idea. I've got this radio station. We're promoting just local music. There's no threat to you guys whatsoever. Yeah. And it was my second week. And so my first day, I was bumping 500 people a minute off my station because I was just running it off my PC, off my internet. I didn't have a farm or anything like that. Yeah, I promoted it, and all of a sudden it was just, I'm watching just this thing just roll out saying, failure connected, all this. And I'm just like going, oh shit. So my buddy who helped me get it set up got me onto a farm within a week. And then it was taken off. But so I called this guy.
Way above my head.
Yeah. And he said, when I told him that, he said, there is no way in hell we will ever work with you. You are a direct threat to our industry. Wow. And I will never work with you. And my jaw hit the floor because I just wanted to cross promote K-Bear on my website, have them put my name on their website, just because I'm bringing the music.
Yeah.
Wait, who was K-Bear owned at the time? By
maybe Cumulus. I don't know.
Cumulus,
okay. So
that's little dick energy. That's what that is.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah. No, they were literally
shitting
frightened.
themselves.
Oh yeah.
It was crazy.
He hung up on me. I was
the shit out of him.
I was 2 weeks. I was on air for 2 weeks.
And they're like, oh no, internet radio is going to literally take our jobs.
Yeah.
Like
and that's the thing. So like,
I mean, for a minute, it kind of,
it kind of does. Yeah.
That's where iHeart stepped in.
Think about it. Like most people, they go, well, they find out I'm on the radio and they go, dude, sorry, like I don't listen. Like they have to be apologetic. I'm like, I don't give a shit. Like I'm still going to do what I do. Like,
and you're getting paid.
Yeah, I get paid. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like old school radio where radio celebrities, were a thing. Like you're on the radio, it's like, holy crap.
Yeah.
They like you would get a table before the president, back in the day, that kind of thing.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. No, I remember when I was Spanky.
Yeah.
Sorry. No, those
when I was Spanky, that's a stripper name if you're just tuning in. If you're just tuning in,
I think it's a little more than
that. You got pretty excited. But when I was Spanky.
Dude, that fucking sucked. But
that was hilarious.
No, but seriously, the radio DJs at the time, God. the really good morning show hosts, they were gods. They got paid shit.
Oh, yeah.
They got paid garbage, but literally they could entirely exacerbate their living situation with anything that they wanted.
Oh, yeah.
anything.
Well, God, your dad in Detroit.
radio.
I was going to say your dad in Detroit.
Yeah.
And when was he doing DJs? 70s, 80s, or I mean, he's still going.
But. Yeah, he was still going, but it was like 80s, 90s. From when I was a kid, and he's in the Hall of Fame of radio. So no pressure, right? Like,
yeah. So no, you talk to a restaurant manager.
Oh my God!
And you're like, dude, I'll casually like reference your name on air if you give me, let's say, a year of free dining with my wife.
The best part is back in the day they didn't even have to do that because they just knew it was that unspoken agreement. Because I remember as a kid we'd go to these parties.
So it's another form of payola.
Yeah, but it's not payola, right? Those are those weird loopholes.
Yep.
And
the station owners knew that they didn't have to pay the radio station
because
hosts
the DJs get free cars.
They got free everything.
They got free everything. Like if you wanted your deck power washed, all you had to do was talk about it on the radio once and be like,
done.
Man, dude, my deck is so ridiculously dirty. Like, I don't even know what to look for.
Ring.
Oh yeah,
ring,
it's
ring,
calling.
ring.
Oh my God, I would love to do it. And then
I'll just mention
you. The next week, Jake's power washing company came and totally cleaned it. Remember we were talking about that?
They don't even have to pay for advertisement.
Nothing.
Space. All they have to do is get in touch with the radio DJ.
Exactly. Yeah. And
that's the way it works.
That's it. That's the power of radio, right? And
it's insane.
Here's the thing, even nowadays with radio kind of like slowly trickling down in the listener, I guess, aspect of it.
It's going to level out once everything's dialed in.
It will.
With the internet, which it's there now. Yeah. The second that the radio stations tapped into the internet.
Yep.
So you can listen to them online. That's where
exactly.
I call it the pond or the boulder in the pond. There's this huge splash. You've got this, tsunami.
Yeah.
And then you have this secondary, and then all of a sudden they find their way, and that's the music industry, that's the film industry, that's radio.
Yeah.
And I think that's what ended up happening here. And I think that's how, and unfortunately, I think that's how iHeartRadio capitalized on that. They're like going, hey, you want to get, this, coverage where you wouldn't be able to get it. You want to get like here, do you want to be heard outside the Wasatch Mountains? Mm-hmm. Get on the internet.
So,
exactly. And so that's what they did. They're like, now people can listen to you in Singapore, people can listen to you in Rio, and that's how they sold it.
Sergeant Perez, how is that going nowadays in the stations? Well, then again, I guess you have a slightly different kind of station. Again, we talked about that earlier. Mm-hmm. You're privately held, but do you get a lot of community business outreach for promotional situations?
You get a free car is what he's asking.
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't get any of that, mainly because they push the morning shows, they push the daytime guys because that's when the businesses are open, right? And
it's when people are in their cars driving to work.
That's the thing. People know who I am because I've been on for so long, and I used to, be the promotions director, and I would fill in for Gina, and I'd be on and whatever, and people would see me at events. And there are quite a few people who listen to my show, but there are also it's Saturdays and Sundays from 7 to midnight. So when I'm talking about if I'm talking about strong Volkswagen, it's like, well, I got to wait till tomorrow morning. So whereas the daytime guys and the morning shows are talking about it, and then they go, ooh, I'm going to do that at lunch. You know what I mean? So they don't get that break of what I call this buyer's, remorse type thing. The buyer surge. So no, I don't get that. When people find out I'm on the radio, I definitely get that. They're like, oh, dude, you should totally give me a shout out. And I'm like, no.
You have to save those. Are very special.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm like, no, I'm not just going to give you a shout out. Now, I do love giving people shout outs that do amazing things. You know what I mean? Like my tattoo artist. I've done it for you guys, for the movies.
Your tattoos are absolutely amazing. I need to talk to it. Yeah. Hey, shout out. Who is this? Because I'm actually.
So I've got two. They're both in Ogden. If you want to go, our new tattoo artist, her name's Miami.
Okay.
She's up at Poison Hearts Tattoo in Ogden. When my girlfriend comes back in, you should see. She just got done last Saturday. I'm getting one done this Saturday. She's going to fill my forearm.
Nice.
Ridiculously amazing. And that's the thing. I always tell people if they do amazing work, I'm just going to shout them out on the radio. Give them a good shout out. Like, oh, you're doing a great thing.
Absolutely.
And, things like that. I don't expect things for free. We still pay her, even though I talked about it on the radio. But I like to use the power of radio to give people that warm and fuzzy, oh shit, somebody just talked about me on the radio. Because even though it's a dying, I use air quotes, a dying breed.
We want to think that. It's
we want
not.
We want to think that, but that's the mainstream, media, like the Spotifys and the iHearts that are like, dude, it's dying. Just listen to us and only listen to us. us and we'll take care of you. It's like, go fuck off.
And John's sitting here like a dinosaur.
Propaganda.
Exactly.
I don't know if we can see John's face. I hope we can. But John's sitting here like super smug, like, yep, I know it's not dying because I've been here for fucking 15 years.
I mean, think about it. My dad's been doing it since I was 9. And he's got job security. I'm still doing it as a part-time thing, and I love doing it. It's never going to go away.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the way that it's the way the medium changes. You know, I mean,
and the medium, like you said, AI, that's going to be the next boulder in the pond.
That's interesting. Right? I think, in radio? Oh, that's okay. So
that's what we were just talking about, like how AI is going to come in and you just type in, you know, somebody just saying something, and then it could be anybody, and they're the DJ of the evening.
Yep, exactly.
I remember I did a show, and it's really funny. I mean, this is about as close to AI as I ever did, but I love Flight Simulator, Microsoft's Flight Simulator, and I have the controls, the pedals, and all that. I did a show where I piloted the aircraft from Salt Lake to LA, and my whole show, show was me flying the plane and putting it on autopilot. And I'm like, all right. And then I'm like, okay, well, we just took off the fasten the seatbelt button, and so why don't we kick back and we're going to listen to some King Nico. And so then I would play the song, come back, you still hear the jets roaring in the background. Dude,
that's hilarious. I love that.
And I did an entire show, and then me coming in for a landing. I mean, it's like, because what the hell else? What can you do?
Different.
It's just something.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so I piloted a 747 from Salt Lake to LA, and I did an entire broadcast flying it in and landing it.
That's so good.
So speaking of AI and radio or music, earlier this morning, sadly, I need to buy a new bed. Anybody out there that wants to give me a really good bed, that'd be great. Thank you. I'm interested in a queen or king mattress. Yeah, I
actually have let's talk offline. I've got a queen mattress with an adjustable bed frame. We'll talk offline.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. We got a new one. So this one's like a year old, but we already got a brand new one because they had a sale at Living Spaces.
Can we diss companies? Because we bought one 2 years ago and we literally can't sleep on. It was like a Casper.
Oh yeah, dude. Casper blows dick.
Was it Casper?
Yeah, they're horrible.
Yeah, I think it was the Casper.
For all complaints, reach out to.
We can barely.
If you want me to talk shit on the radio about companies, let me do it.
Yeah, dude.
It's funny because I'm Sergeant Perez, right? So I'm the most honest, I think. You know, and besides Carrie Diligina, but they're one-sided. They're one-sidedly honest. I love them to death, but yeah. So But if somebody sucks, I'm going to say it. I'm going to tell you.
Yeah. And seriously, for the past 6 months, my wife and I we've literally slept for 2 or 3 hours on the bed. And then both of us literally leave the bed to find other places. Yeah. My wife goes into the closet or into the
He's like,
studio.
I'm going to go to the garage.
I got the front couch or whatever, literally. And we're having a hard time sleeping. Yeah. It really sucks. But what I was going to ask also in the radio industry, we were talking about payola. We're talking about advertising. We're talking about all of this stuff. Yeah. Let's talk about for all of the local bands in Utah. Yeah. What is the best way for a local band to actually get some radio play from independent radio collective like Broadway Media or X96?
Oh, I was going to say, just reach out to me because I do it 24/7.
Oh, well, of course. I mean,
reach out to John. Yeah,
just reach out to me. I don't know. What are you talking about?
But if you want, Utah Music Radio is always going to play everything. Sorry,
that's the thing that gets me, and
where's the horn thing? I don't know.
That's the thing that gets me, and I understand it. I get the business and all that shit. But the way that they tout, we're all supportive, blah, blah, blah. But then it's like Sunday at 9 p.m. or...
Exactly.
And I understand it's a business and people don't listen to new things, which flabbergasts me because every fucking new song on the radio, they've never heard.
Yep.
So why the fuck don't they do that with local music?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that was the thing that I was offering K-Bear that I'm listening to going, all right, this would work. This is radio ready. This would fly for this station. And I could go to a handful of different radio stations and say, this would fit your genre. This would fit your genre. This would fit your genre. Yeah. And
you literally could have been a feeder.
Yeah.
A feeder.
Yeah. I start here and start your music here.
How many bands did you have at that time? Over 1,000.
So right now we've
not right now, but
when I had global music radio.
How many bands did you have literally on your radio?
5 let's see, worldwide I had over 5,000 bands and over 25,000 songs.
Jeez, that's insane.
And now the crazy thing here locally, I have 586 right now, and I'm probably up to 600 with all the new submissions. And I have been 100% accurate, which not to tout anything on this, but
he's like, not to toot my own horn,
but let's do it. Literally, every band that I've heard, every band that has been signed, that has come through my station, I called it out within the first 30 seconds of their song. And I can throw them all out for you. And every single one of them got signed. Nice. And do you know how many? Do you know how many that is?
Oh, I want to know.
Out of 586 bands, 12.
Wow.
That's actually...
That's a good.
That's good.
I love that. That's actually
good.
Wonderful.
That's good.
But it
12,
could be more.
And that's one of the things that I want local musicians to understand.
Yeah.
Is that
you have to understand the ratio.
Take your shit seriously. When I first started this, I literally told people, I'm like, okay, let's do this. I will play anybody. Let's support the local music. And there were bands that would just put their recorder in the middle of the room, their phone, because that's all they could afford. And I had one band that was down in Payson, or no, it was just outside of Price, was the small town just before Price. Helper. Helper. They were out of Helper. They submitted their song. The next thing you know, they send it in. It's just a recording, in the middle of their living room, and their music gets stuck between Royal Bliss and Rickshaw. Jesus Rides a Rickshaw. Okay, so Royal Bliss, big production.
Nice.
Jesus Rides a Rickshaw was signed, and they got promoted and produced through Jaeger.
Okay.
And so that was big quality. And Palmer always dumps a lot of money into. I mean, he owns the pie, so of course he's going to dump everything into it. But anyway, they're sandwiched in between. So I'm listening to it, and then I'm like, ooh, well, they happen to be listening to it at the exact same time.
Yeah. Wait, who?
I can't remember the name of the band.
Okay.
But anyway, so what they ended up doing, I can go through my list and probably find them. So then they heard it. 2 weeks later, they came back with the same song that they went to a studio.
Good.
Had a whole new recording of it. Told me to delete that one off the list and replace it.
Oh, wonderful.
And I thought, how cool was that? Because that helped the local economy because they went to a studio.
Yep.
They improved their music. They learned how to work together as a band.
Smart.
And it improved our radio station by submitting better music.
Right?
So it really helped. It really helped the entire community. Excellent. It helped them. It helped the community. It built local business. So I just felt like that was a huge win, and I'll always take that.
And that's what I was going to say to answer is if you're wanting to get on the radio, right, either with you guys or wherever, you have to have a good enough quality to where they can play it. Because remember, yes, the radio business is a business. It's not that they don't want to play new stuff, but Todd Newcomb, one of the greatest humans on the planet, right? He's the production, or he's the PD for the production director, for X96. And he listens to music 24/7, 365, right? And it's he builds the logs for the day, for the week. You know what I mean? Like he puts the logs together. We could change things around, of course. Like for my show, if I'm like, I don't want to listen to that, and I'll put something else in.
Well, but he also listens to the community.
Exactly. He listens.
All of these.
We do surveys and we talk to people, and we're doing this. Yeah. So we do fit new people in. Like I know in my shows and throughout the week or whatever, they'll throw in new bands, like local ones. Like there's Immune to Death. It's a high school band. Nice. That's here in Utah. I'll look it up in a second. But they're a high school band. And
Immune to Death?
Yeah, Immune to Death. Like it's
Immune to Death.
Immune to Death. They are
immune to
death. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
No. Immune. Like I'm immune to death.
Immune to death. Okay.
I'm gonna look them up. But no, Todd sent me this, and he's like, "Hey, you're gonna have this new local band. They're from." It's a Utah band. Oh no, hang on. They're a high school band, and he put the music in and played it, and now we play it all the time now.
I love that.
That's so cool.
And it has to be, but that's the thing. It has to be, you have to produce the quality because one, we have national clients that listen to our radio station. We have consultants and all that crap. It does, yes, even though we're private, it does affect, you know what I mean? Like that, it keeps the lights on, you know what I mean? So we try to play a lot of local stuff. I know back in the day, we used to do Battle of the Bands. Yeah. And, they stopped doing that because then it turned into, well, I own the dealership that was your biggest sponsor. My son better win Battle of the Bands.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't, then I'm not going to sponsor anything else for the rest of the year. And then it turned into this big political bullshit, then we just were like, okay, if it can't be about the bands, then fuck you. Like Syracuse High School.
No way. Okay.
A band called Immune Until Death. So yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, these guys are phenomenal. And did you know Blind Love, the band Blind Love? They're local. Yeah, and they're now they just got off a tour with The Used. You know what I mean? So
that's awesome.
Yeah, but anyway,
having owned a record label, so in order to promote our bands and get them on, like, let's say X96 or Broadway Media, let's say it's a country band, let's say it's a whatever, and Broadway's got country stations as well. Yep. Battle of the Bands was actually really a good way to submit to possibilities of getting into that. But when you talk about quality, I think at this time and age, bands are starting to realize that quality is actually paramount. It needs to be radio.
They're in a sea of music that
polished,
they have to stand out.
But there's one other thing that I don't think a lot of these artists are really thinking about, and it's something that I don't think is talked about amongst the local music industry as much anymore as it was like 10 years ago. And that is your performance rights organizations. If you got a quality song that you can get plugged and it has a tag that you can get royalties from airplay, that's great. But if you're not attached to a performance rights organization, meaning ASCAP, CSEC, BMI, or others, like, you're not going to actually get paid for your airplay.
Exactly.
So this is one important thing.
It's essentially like SAG for actors.
Yeah, it's like SAG.
It's like SAG for actors. Like, if you're not part of SAG,
But you know, I think that even that. I think BMI and ASCAP as much of the mafia.
And this is why I like CSEC.
CSEC
I think that's the best, but honestly, it's a harder sell, because ASCAP and BMI will kind of
they'll shut bars down for playing the radio.
Yes, they will.
Yeah.
Yes, they will.
I had a friend
I've watched it happen.
Owned a bar and had the radio on that was being sponsored with all the shit on the radio. Somebody from, I won't say which one, but it was one of those, and said, you owe for this music that's being played. And they're like, this is the radio, and that's what the sponsors are supposed to be covering. And they're like, yeah, but this is a public area and people are listening to it.
Oh, see that?
And they nailed them for $30,000.
Oh my God.
And they're
that's
like, we don't have $30,000.
That's a huge ticket.
It was $30,000. And so they're like, either that or we're going to sue you, and it's going to be a lot more than $30,000.
Wow.
And so they're like, okay, so
holy crap.
So guess what I did? I said, you got internet, right?
Nice.
Okay, so why don't you just tap into my radio station and then you get to play all the local music, and I'm not going to shut you down.
Exactly.
Okay,
so they turned off the radio and started playing.
That's good.
John, why don't you discuss that? Why don't you discuss the differences between, if you are not involved in a performance rights organization yet and you want to get exposure and radio player, what do you offer with Utah Musician Radio?
Well, not even so much that, but I want to talk about really quick, and then I want to get back to Nick here.
Yes. But you're our guest. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
We're talking about awesome stuff, so we're fine.
Yeah, it's actually kind of cool.
But at the end of the day, so labels aren't even looking at bands right now unless they have 10,000 followers on Facebook, on all social medias, Instagram, Facebook.
Promotional
YouTube,
SoundCloud.
They've got to have, and then they've got to have a video. Not even just the EPK. They have to have a strong following. They have to have a minimum of 10,000 followers, and then every video has to be 15,000 plus views before they won't even. So if you go and you send your music to a label, they're going to say, "What's your social media like?"
Yeah.
They'll come back and then they'll be like, "Well, we're just getting started," and or they'll look, and if they're like, "You don't even have any followers, so who's going to give a shit?" They already want a built-in clientele from you now.
Exactly.
They're not willing to spend the money to put the time into it because they can't anymore, and that's the biggest catch. So my station here is just basically another platform for these bands to be able to get their sound out there, so they can say, "Hey, I'm on this radio station, check us out here." And the biggest pet peeve I have, and I'm going to say it again, I'm going to say it right here in front of the camera, if you're on my show and I say, where can people find your music? I better be at the top of the list.
Yeah, exactly.
If I'm playing your music, you better say my name because otherwise, why the hell am I wasting my time playing your shit? And every single time, dude, there is not a time that I haven't had a band in here. Literally, we just finished playing their song and then we were wrapping up and I said, where can we find your music? And they say, everybody but this station. And I'm just like, and I look at them like, how's my station doing for you? And they're like, oh, I mean, and it's like,
okay, here's community.
People.
Utah, and everywhere. Utah, here's community. If we want to create a community where we can establish local support, but okay, it's not just that. It's local influence or trying to get exposure, local
credit.
Everybody, like everybody, recognition. The community to actually see who you are as a band, see your art, see your musicianship. Why would you not say this radio station? Because quite honestly, if we all come together and if we all try to put this can be a database of Utah collective music. Yeah. And there's no copyright issues. There's nothing. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do is submit. And then quite honestly, you can just say thank you. This is our local database of radio music. You can hear everything here on UtahMusicians.net. It's insane. We don't have to jump through the hoops.
Nope. Hoops. That's the great thing with internet is that FCC is still keeping their nose out of shit. They better stay that way, FCC.
They have to. Because if they start getting into the internet radio, they're like,
can you imagine what they would do then at that point?
It would be congressional, but then you're seeing what's happening with royalty payments with Spotify and with everybody and all the congressional hearings. It will never go anywhere. No. So no, I don't think internet radio is ever going to be touched. No.
So now let's get back to Nick here really quick.
Ooh. Yes, our guest.
Your dad was in radio. Yep. Everybody has their first time. Yep. What was the very first song you remember?
Like very first song radio-wise or just
very first song that stood out to you that you
Interesting.
I always ask this question to everybody. What was the very first song you remember?
The very first song, oh man. I'd probably say
And how old were you?
I was about because my dad loved Kiss. Oh. So my dad was a Kiss.
Detroit.
I know. Who would thought,
okay.
Right?
Yeah, that's right. I forgot. You grew up in Detroit.
My dad was like, he could have been the president of the Kiss Army. Like he was all about Kiss. Awesome. But, growing up in radio, it was all classic rock. Like I've grown up listening to classic rock my entire life. So I could say the normal like Kiss stuff, but the one that really stood out because it was actually my first concert was Creed.
Nice. Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no way. I mean? Yeah, like Creed. And I didn't think they were a Christian band or anything like that because according to Scott's staff, they weren't
back then.
They weren't.
No,
they
not
weren't
back then. No.
Mm-mm. I think it's just it had that sound to it, but it had the 90s sound that and
mine was Phil
Eddie
Collins,
Vedder, the Eddie Vedder growl.
Exactly, the Eddie Vedder. Yeah.
Oh, we called that. We called that jackass rock because
exactly.
So I did this. Like that's my jackass rock.
It definitely was. I want to say it was Creed. Yeah.
Sorry, that was
no. It was Creed, and then probably, man, it's hard to say because just listening to so much stuff. Yeah, I'll just stick with Creed. It was either Arms Wide Open or one of the Open Arms type ones. Because
it wasn't a bad song.
No, it's a great song. It's still a great song.
Yeah,
but I played the drums when I was a kid because I wanted to do. I was like, I like music and I wanted to do something, so I played the drums. And then once I started finding out about other bands and songs and things like that, and I was like, ooh, and then one that besides that stuck out was Seek and Destroy from Metallica.
Okay.
And then as I got older, it was, Slipknot and, all these other bands. But then also because I grew up in Detroit, it was rap and hip hop and, things like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So what was your life growing up like in Detroit? How much has changed? Does your dad still live in Detroit?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Okay, so since you've moved and I mean, obviously the world's changed here in Salt Lake and all that, but what was it like for you growing up in Detroit?
I mean, it was think of Detroit, like all the stereotypes. The stereotypes are there for a reason, right? I usually make the joke of, you learn how to shoot a gun before you learn how to walk. Yeah. Things like that. You're given a switchblade at birth, type of thing, but...
Congratulations.
Exactly.
It's a switchblade.
Yeah, like, it's like, are you in the Sharks or are you the Jets. You know, it's
right.
Yeah.
No, it's a dog-eat-dog world.
Exactly. But no, it was rough, you know, but that's what Detroit is, right? I think certain people are grown out of, you know, that kind of stuff. If you grew up in Chicago, if you grew up in, you know, Compton, if you grew up in, you know, Detroit, there's a different hardness to you because you have to grow up in a city like that.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
And that doesn't mean you have to be an asshole. That just means you're a different type of hard. You know, like
it's a character set with every different fucking city, and every city has their own different kind of hard.
Yeah,
and
Detroit has its own.
Oh yeah, we've got our own kind of hard.
Yeah, shit.
Oh, it's super difficult. Yeah,
but the thing is like when people from like Utah say, "Oh, those Detroit people are fucking hard," but they're just being
normal.
Them.
Yeah, we're just being normal.
It's not a hard thing. It's just like kind of that's the way of life.
My perfect reaction.
They grew up in Rose Park.
Yeah.
Hey, there you go.
Well, that's my thing. Is like when I hear people talk about Ogden or Rose Park, and I'm like, oh, that's like the suburbs, because that's to me that's what it is. Like I go through Rose Park and Ogden where people are like, oh my god, this is terrifying.
The suburbs in Detroit.
I'm like, this is the suburbs. Like,
this is so,
what are you guys
so fluffy.
Out about? Yeah,
it's so fluffy.
I was like, there's green grass and there isn't a crackhead, you know, passed out in the middle of the driveway right now. Like,
no, that's North Temple.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, that's it's Temple
I only
Square.
saw one brown plastic or brown paper bag instead of one in every single
But in Utah, it has
hand.
a fizz drink, not an alcoholic drink.
Right.
Yeah. It's a brown paper bag with a
and
fizz.
they're staggered and a sugar high.
You just said that.
Yeah.
You said that out loud. And I love that you did, because I am gonna fucking good job. Should I say
swig,
you
fizz
said
or
it out loud.
swig or whatever the hell. Yeah.
Whatever the hell.
I don't drink. I drink Red Bull, water, and whiskey. That's literally in that order.
Fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
in that order. Every morning. But the
Fanta. That's how I wake up.
Yeah, but no, growing up in Detroit was, you know, I think back on it and it's like, I love being from Detroit, but I don't think I'll ever move back to Detroit. I go back to visit family, like my dad and sisters and all their, you know, mess of children live back there. You know, and I like being from Detroit because I have that experience, right? I have the, you know, it's, and that's kind of why I have like a happy demeanor now. People are like, why are you so happy all the time? I'm like, shit could be worse.
Things are
because I'm not in Detroit.
Yeah, you know, well, and also, you know, not even just the military side of it, but things can be worse. Like I got jumped going home from hanging out with friends because my parents' rule, like all of our parents, was be home before the streetlights come on, right? And a lot of old school people, that's their parents' rule, right?
Yeah.
So we didn't have smartphones, we didn't have watches. Like
that's what it was like growing up.
Yeah, it was like, hey, streetlights come on, you better be in the fucking house. So we're running to get home. And in Detroit, they've got a lot of one-way streets, you know, to reduce traffic. And then I'm sure you've seen it in like movies and stuff where the alleyways, so there's like a one-way road where like the cars go. Then there's the alleyways, and that's where you'd like pull into your garage, and that's where the garbage trucks and all that shit would go, and they would dump the trash cans and stuff.
Right.
It's like Chicago. Like there's the
exactly.
I lived in Chicago. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the same way. So
the main street, and then
right
there's
behind
houses, and then the alleys, and another houses in the main street.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of weird.
The alleyways were kind of where the gangs lived, where the ruffians, you know, the hoodlums of sorts. And that's where they'd be at. We knew this growing up, and we would stay away from those. But when your parents are, you know, like, why were you home when the streetlights on? We take off. We start running, and we're trying to get through. We cut through an alleyway.
It's so easy to just like get anywhere.
The problem is that there was
unless the cops are smart on top of it.
Right. But there was a gang there.
Oh.
And we were infringing on their territory.
Oh,
we were just kids, 14, 15-year-olds just booking through, that we get told to stop, all that kind of stuff, and we're like, fuck you, we're out of here. We just take off.
Not good.
Yeah, no, not good. They caught up to us because they're grown-ass men and we're 15-year-old kids. And they beat the dog shit out of us because we were walking through their stuff, and then they burnt us with cigarette lighters because they wanted us to never forget to, you know, not go down, to stay out of their alleyway. Other things happened I'm not going to get into, you know, after the fact because blah, blah, blah. But legally can't talk about that stuff. But it's that kind of stuff that I grew up in. So now I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. You know what I mean? So I'm just happy all the damn time. So when people are like, how are you? And I'm like, another day in paradise, man.
Can I just throw in real quick? And I'll make it super quick. So get it. I lived in Chicago for quite some time, worked at, and that's where I did Snakes on the Plane.
Oh,
shit.
Nice.
Yeah, I did that.
That's amazing.
I did that in Chicago.
Yeah.
moved to New Orleans, like kind of accidentally.
I've done that. I'm like, oh man, how did I get in Florida?
That was a long night.
Yeah.
Long night of drinking with the Red Bull water and whiskey.
Too much Red Bull and whiskey, man.
How do I put this in a gentle way?
I accidentally ended up in Louisiana.
I was like, too much whiskey and ecstasy. I was in Louisiana. Yeah. Moving on.
I guess you could say dropped off and abandoned.
Oh, okay. Way to bring the...
I think that was...
by my deceased ex-wife.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I recall that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'll throw it out there. I think a lot of people know about the story, but I'm not going to get into those details. But yeah, just like, here you go. And just like dropped off with two suitcases and my acoustic guitar.
Damn.
I remember that. I remember you calling me.
That's gnarly.
Oh my God, I did. Yeah. And literally the hurricane was hitting like that night or the next day. And I had to find it. And so all planes, and this is Hurricane Isaac.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Katrina.
It wasn't Katrina.
Yeah.
The city was already kind of just destroyed. And this was 2 years after Katrina, and it was Isaac, and Isaac definitely wasn't as bad.
Yeah.
They had already fixed a lot of the flooding mechanisms. The military did the things and whatever.
Yeah.
Well, that made it better.
Oh, yeah. Not really, because I actually... dropped off and abandoned, and I had no way of doing anything. Train lines, airlines, buses, everything stopped.
Damn.
Everything just completely ended. All of the hotels stopped taking in. I had to find a hostel.
Damn.
And literally just at the edge of my teeth, got a taxi into the hostel, and hurricane hit. It was within 3 hours, power's gone. And so I'm in this hostel with about 60 foreign, because this is a foreign hostel.
Yeah.
You have to either have a out-of-state ID or a foreign ID in order to actually stay at this hostel.
Wow.
So there's about 60 or 70 of us, and super crazy stories happen there. But after the hurricane, I tried to acclimate to the city. It was a very difficult thing to do.
Oh, yeah.
New Orleans has got its own style. I was in the South. I didn't really know the South that much.
Yeah.
I didn't know the Southern hospitality and how it can be in some ways like absolutely so comforting, in some ways like they're going to kill you. And so after the hurricane, within 2 weeks of me like running around, and this is like literally downtown New Orleans, French Quarter, looking for a job, within 2 weeks, I had been robbed at gunpoint twice.
Yeah.
I kept my social security in my wallet and in my driver's license and everything. And then I started to realize, oh, this is not really that safe of a city.
Yeah,
and especially
after the second time,
especially after Katrina, like all of the neighborhoods just turned into like, there was one occupied house in any neighborhood, and then 1, 2, 3 completely abandoned houses, and then another occupied house. But these abandoned houses weren't abandoned.
They were not abandoned.
Yeah, they were occupied, but the original family's gone. But
but no, that was really, really interesting. And then I just...
It's eye-opening.
It really is.
Yeah.
And then I tried to get into the music industry there, but little did I know that the music industry in New Orleans is so deep rooted, incredibly deep rooted. Oh, yeah. And like, I got the chance to like play a little bit with, Harry, I love to say Harry Chronic Jr. But, and some other people on stage, but the amount of musicians from there and the feel of those types of cities. And I would imagine Detroit is the mecca.
Oh, yeah.
For some of the most amazing Motown.
Iconic.
Yep.
Motown City. Isn't it in Sun?
Yep.
Sun Records?
Yeah, Sun Records. Motown.
Motown is,
that's from Detroit. It's the city of Motown. Yeah.
There's another.
Holy Motor crap. City, yeah.
Motor City,
the
Motown.
Most amazing, I mean, literally.
Oh, yeah. Aretha Franklin, Detroit.
Generational changing music came from that city.
Oh, yeah.
And generational, not meaning just for Americans. The whole world. It shaped an entire generation.
And that's what kills me about the city of Detroit, is that it had so much, I mean, not even just the music, but the auto industry, everything that came from Detroit. Did you know that Little Caesars pizza, the deep dish pizza was invented in Detroit?
What?
Yep.
Wait, deep dish?
Yeah, the deep
like
dish.
Chicago
not the Chicago cake. I call that Chicago
that
cake.
That is totally cake.
Yeah, it's cake. Don't yeah.
It's marinara cake.
Exactly. It's marinara cake with shit in the middle. Sorry, my accent came out there for a minute.
It's like,
I'm like, get the fuck out of here. The deep dish. Yeah, get out of here. But no, so the deep dish, the square pizza in the pan, it all started from the
Domino's.
Well, no, so,
or not Domino's,
Little Caesars, right? Little Caesars was started there, but
oh, I forgot that was their original style of pizza.
Yeah, it was the square
and
the deep dish, and then Chicago was like, yeah, we could turn it into a fucking cake. But anyway, so it started because when the like assembly line and the Ford Motor Company and all that stuff, they had all these people, they needed more workers, right? So they brought in people from New York, they brought in Italians, they brought in Puerto Ricans, they brought all these people.
In the Italians,
exactly, right? How funny is that?
They brought in
they brought in the Italians.
Hey, Johnny, they brought in the Italians. I need a pizza with the pepperoni. Now, send it over to my friends over there.
Well, it's funny because they were like, it all stemmed from they wanted pizza. They wanted pizza for lunch. They didn't have any pizza joints around, and they were like, well, what do we got to do? And they're like, oh, we could just make fucking pizza. And they're like, we don't have any like pizza pans or anything like that. So they took old oiled trays.
Oh my God.
That were brand new, the square ones.
Oh, yeah.
They took the oil trays,
just put in some
and they put the
dough.
pizza in there. They put the dough, the sauce, all that stuff, and then they cooked it in the same place that they cooked the fucking engines and all the other hot shit.
Yeah.
Right? Then
Holy shit.
Then literally they made this pizza and it would rise on the
pizza.
side. Yeah, greasy pizza. It would rise up on the side. It had a nice crust. And they're like,
my
this is amazing.
Lord.
Yeah. Then the guy that started Little Caesars took that same thing. That's why Little Caesars, their original, is the square pizza. So the square pizza started in Detroit.
And you know what?
Yeah.
That Little Caesars guy, even though I don't know how good the business is doing right now, but that dude is just constantly giving back to the public.
Oh, dude. All the time.
I'm not a fan of, I'm also a chef, but I can eat some Little Caesars, but I'll just tell you this. That dude, the owner of Little Caesars, is doing some massive good. Props to Little Caesars owner.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong, they definitely have the make pizza quick model, right? Nowadays, it's the
fast food pizza.
It's the cardboard pizza, right? Everyone's like, well, Little Caesars, I don't want to eat cardboard. It's like, yeah, well, you get pizza for $5. So if you're hungry and you got $5, go get a fucking pizza, like shut your mouth.
But he's like funding the arts. He's funding
he funds all the art stuff. He actually
he funds like even LGBTQ plus programs.
All this stuff. He donates crazy money. And the Red Wings, they had the the Joe Louis Arena. That's they're famously known for being the one of the teams that was in Detroit. Then when they moved things around and they brought the Lions to the center of Detroit, the Tigers, the Pistons are all there now.
Nice.
But the owner of Little Caesars, Joe Louis Arena, had to have like a lot of remodels, and they were like, we're going to tear it down. And they're like, well, where are the Wings going to play? And he was like, fuck it, I'm going to build a stadium in the middle of the city. And now that's where the Pistons play. That's where concerts happen. And he does all this stuff, and tickets are stupid cheap. He doesn't care. He built a freaking stadium where the Red Wings play, where the Pistons play, where Taylor Swift, like where all these big names.
That's awesome.
They'll come there, and he's like, cool, yeah, tickets or whatever. You know what I mean? Like he's not trying to do. Oh man, yeah, no, I love it.
We need more people like this.
Exactly.
Because seriously, there's so many philanthropists like this throughout the country that literally is shaking things up in a way that the system is failing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and that's what really bugs me, because like now to get back to your question, like now when I go back, I love what they're doing with Detroit.
They're starting to rebuild it, right?
They've been rebuilding it, but they're doing so. Like with St. Louis, when they rebuilt St. Louis, they did what every other city does. They want to appease the rich people first, so they'll start at the suburbs and then work their way in, right?
Yeah.
And then they stop at some point, because then all the the broke people, they got pushed inward. They're like, well, shit, what do we do? It's still crappy, right? But Detroit, they're like, nah, we're going to go from the inside out. So literally, if you go to Detroit now,
I love that.
If you go to Detroit now, it is like night and day different. Like you can walk outside after 8 p.m. and not worry about getting shot. Like it's nice to walk around. You know what I mean?
It's like New York almost.
Kind of. It's got I
remember 42nd Street, and getting my buddy ended up getting robbed.
Oh wow!
Right in front of me.
Damn.
He got jumped, and
you just watched. You just you couldn't do anything.
I didn't have a choice.
Yeah, you couldn't.
He pulled out his microphone and was like, another episode.
All right, everybody. Right now, what's happening?
New York Music Radio. My buddy's getting.
This is why
this was before Disney bought 42nd Street.
No,
so this is when it was still pimps and hookers and drugs and all.
But now it's
shit.
pimps and hookers and drugs. But they just also play Disney music.
But now you can get it at the M&M shop.
But John, this is what
you get a free pair of Disney ears when you get a blowjob. Yeah.
Yep.
I've been trying to tell you, John, you don't need a knife. You don't need a gat. You don't need a Glock. You don't need anything. All you need is an SM-57 in your back pocket.
True fact.
Exactly.
And that's an inside joke for audio people, SM-57. Sure.
I mean, that's
just
it's a
Google
club.
Or an SM-58. That will work too.
That'll work.
Yeah.
57, 58 doesn't matter.
No problem.
But yeah, no, they've rebuilt the city, and like they have the river walk, which is something that you could never do before, where you could just walk along the Detroit River for like 4 or 5 miles.
Whoa.
And just like,
and it's just wonderful.
It's lit up. It's nice. Brand new concrete. Like everything is so nice in the middle of Detroit. They have a like a tracks type system to where you can get around, and it's free inside the city. You just jump on, you can go to the next part of the city, get off, and like I said, all of the teams are down there now, right? So
seeing that, okay, so that's the next question I got.
Yeah.
Okay, because I know we're getting pretty much up there.
Yeah.
So let's finish this off with one more big, truly important question.
Yeah.
Detroit Lions, Super Bowl.
Yes. 100%. Next year they're going. I don't care. Like, I thought they were going this year or this last year.
I thought so too. My God, would that not have been?
Oh my God, it would have been
a great.
That would have been an amazing time. But you know what? I think last year it was more of everyone was rooting for them because they were the underdog. It's always that.
But yeah,
listen, I've always been a Lions fan my entire life. I've always gotten shit. They're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, you're a Lions fan." Like I was there. I was there when they were 0-16.
The Dallas Cowboys. Let's be real.
Yeah. But like I've always
there's
been
more people that feel bad for Cowboys.
That's true.
But
like I've always been a Lions fan, will always be a Lions fan. Did I get angry during the season? And I'm like, what the hell is happening right now? When we got our asses kicked on Thanksgiving for no fucking reason?
Yeah, that one was a shocker. God.
But I think with how they're rebuilding, I think people are going to come for the Lions differently than they did last year, but we're going to be ready for it, right? We're going to have our line and be ready for it. I think Dan Campbell is the right guy in the position. All the people that we've kept, I know we got rid of some good people or whatever, but we're replacing them with better people, some fresh people, some ones that aren't going to do stupid shit on the side or, cause us to, if they want to throw a hissy fit, okay, we'll go do that, with Green Bay. We don't care. You can do it somewhere else. But the cool thing is a lot of the guys took pay cuts to stay with Detroit because they feel they're like, I want to do this.
That says a lot.
That's cool. I didn't know that. That's pretty awesome.
Because, each team only gets a certain cap, right? So there's a couple of the guys that were, some of the offensive line, some of the, right tackles, left tackle, all that stuff. They didn't like expect some $1 billion pay raise because they got to the NFC Championship. It's like, well, no, we'll just do what we need to do and we'll fucking play again. Let's get to the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? And a lot of these guys have spent their whole careers there. So do I.
That would be because it would be their first time, right?
First time ever.
Wait, really?
Yeah. First time ever they've even been to the Super Bowl. The farthest they've ever gone was this last year. Was the NFC Championship.
That was the furthest. I thought they had been there before.
Nope, never.
I don't even watch that now.
See, that's the thing. I don't like because I try to watch, basketball and all that kind of stuff. I can't. I mean, they do the flop thing, and that's part of the reason why I don't like soccer. But soccer's good though.
Soccer's getting better.
It's very athletic.
Football?
Soccer's getting better.
Like football. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yes,
that is good. I like watching it sometimes. It does bug me when they go 90 minutes and not even score a point. But still, it's one of those things.
I wish they would at least get to a golden goal or make sure that there's at least a penalty kick at the end because I hate the 0-0s.
Yeah.
Or ties.
But back to NFL.
Nick, you're a Lions fan.
Lions fan. 100%.
Straight up. 100%.
Yep. I'll watch the Eagles sometimes, but that's just because my girlfriend's an Eagles fan.
So you're now living in Utah, so you're not like Broncos. I just remember the Utahs that love the Broncos.
Me. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm
my dad was a Broncos fan, so that's kind of where I started to do my shit. But.
I'm kind of like you, a diehard, and I'm watching this team. And I can't. I don't get it.
It's weird because when I was a kid,
doing great, and then they got Russell. Yeah, and I just went. And then
when I was a kid, I watched John Elway and Terrell Davis and these guys
Peyton Manning.
Go back-to-back Super Bowls, and then it's like, sweet, and all of a sudden it's like
that was that's my fear with Detroit is that they got this far with that team, and now they're changing it up with a few different people, and I'm like, but that was the team that got them this far.
It's not the main people though. It's
upgrading.
I guess you could say that I don't want to take away from their positions, right? But it's the tertiary players, right? So the ones that they make a difference, but they don't make a difference. So we're going to Detroit in a couple weeks for the draft, right? So between...
Oh, you are going for the... That's right. You said
we're going for the draft because I love the draft. I'm from Detroit, so we're going to see some family. And the draft is so cool.
What is that like?
Explain that. It's free, right? So any draft that you go to anywhere, it's free to get in. What? That's what I love about the NFL. So
is it at the stadium?
No, so essentially they take over a city. Last year they had the draft in Vegas.
What?
Oh, and
I don't know anything about it.
It took over this whole large section of Las Vegas on the strip.
Right.
Oh yeah. And you just get in for free, right? You have to register, and that's only just to keep track of stuff, right?
Right.
But you go in and you have to buy, like if you want to buy merch, you can buy merch. But the cool thing is like it's the NFL draft. Like they have the stage set up. They have big screens, so if you can't get too close, you can still see it. And all the team owners come out. Roger Goodell's there. You get to see who your team picks. You know what I mean? And you're just there in the moment. And
is this like slave trade?
No, it's essentially like all the college kids, all the.
I'm just kidding. I'm sorry.
Well,
sorry. Here's this guy.
Don't get
Let's
paid.
all bid on him.
Exactly. College kids that don't get paid are about to make millions and millions of dollars.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I know.
And
cheese and rice.
Cheese and rice. There's always like this whole list of people that are like the top tier ones that are going to get picked that are going to the NFL. And then like you get excited as a fan because you're like, oh, like when I went, we got Aiden Hutchinson, who was a phenomenal addition. He came from Michigan, right? He was a Wolverine. He picked up first round draft pick because the Lions were doing so bad.
Michigan, right?
Yeah, Michigan.
Okay,
yeah.
Right.
So the Lions were doing so bad the year prior. So they got, one of the first or second draft pick. And so they got him. And literally this guy in a season had more QB sacks than anybody in the last 5 seasons.
That's right.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
He was a monster.
Him and Rodriguez we picked up in the first 2 rounds. And on defense, they were the biggest, and they're rookies.
But I remember that because he had the most sacks in the season, right?
Yeah. And then even last year he was tied for like second or something like that.
Yeah, didn't he? I mean, he kept taking down Purdy.
Yes.
During the playoff.
Dude, he took down so many people. And
I loved watching him. He is he's the dream player.
Oh, he's phenomenal.
I was so impressed.
And he's one of those ones that I bet he had a million offers from every single team. And he's like, no, fuck you, I'm staying in Detroit. Right. And that's part of what I love about Detroit is once you're there, you're like, okay,
this is my city.
I'm fighting for my city.
This is my city.
That's why do you think Matt Stafford stayed with us for 12 years?
Yeah.
Right. He was our quarterback when we went 0-16, but then, he left when they did the trade with Goff, and then Goff got all pissy and we sucked for 2 years. But look what he did last year.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm really glad that he kind of stepped it up because it was the last year of his contract. So we don't know if he'll be our quarterback next year. But then Stafford goes to Rams and wins the Super Bowl that year, and the best part was Detroit, they were like, fuck yeah, go Stafford. Like, hell yeah, I get it.
Yeah, exactly. They were still supportive.
They were still supportive because he was our quarterback for 12 years. Yeah. And then, when he came back to Detroit and we played him in the playoffs or whatever, everyone was like, fuck you. Like, that. But they also cheered him though.
Yeah.
They also cheered him and they were like, hell yeah, this, that, and the other. But also they were like, you're our enemy right now. We got to kind of hate you, but thank you. You're still great. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, we love to hate you.
That's way cool.
We hate to love you. We love to hate you.
I love the camaraderie and sometimes other than teenage sports with parents.
Yeah.
That's we won't talk about that.
Yeah, that's the bad part.
We won't talk about that. Yeah.
Sports
but
parents,
seriously, the camaraderie that I'm seeing in NCAA and throughout the country is actually quite incredible.
Oh, yeah. It brings people together. One of my favorite
really
commercials, like I don't drink beer, but one of my favorite, I think it's Bud Light or Corona. It's one of the beer companies. They made a really funny commercial that they played throughout the season. And they're like, spend time, watch the game with your friends, like go to the bar, drink this beer. And because in March, and it was like these 2 guys and they're like cheering and hugging each other. And then they're like, because in March, and then it flips off and they're just wearing normal clothes. They're like, it's just a normal bar. You know what I mean? Like, they're like, have fun, enjoy the season, like be friends. And they were like, when they were doing the football thing, they were wearing different teams.
I like that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I've never experienced that with like my guy friends. Or do I have like guy friends? I don't know. I mean,
you do now.
Fuck am I?
I know. Hey, this guy's like, I have guy friends. He's like, fuck you.
Are you guys
where are we at here?
We're gonna go watch Newsies together, then watch a fucking football game. And he's like, yeah.
So what's the next sport coming up that you're gonna invite me over to? Do we have like
soccer's playing right now. NBA's on, NCAA.
Do we have any ice skating coming on? Just kidding.
Okay, I think we're done.
Yeah, boy.
And with that,
It's a joke. It's a joke.
Hey,
I know you just
so, but with that being said, thank you for coming in.
Of course, yeah. Thanks for having me on, man.
It was really awesome.
It was fun.
And where can people find you?
Well,
and where can we
Utah
listen?
Music Radio, baby.
All right, there we go. We're
There you
done.
go.
Good night.
But no,
Yeah, because
honestly,
we're actually talking about having you
we're
and
talking
having
about
your own podcast and having your own shows here.
Yeah.
And so I'm really excited about that. And thank you for even, entertaining it. So I'm
and then
really
also,
excited
not
about
to
that.
plug my other radio
No,
stations.
no,
but-
please
do it,
do.
do it,
No,
do it.
we
But
want-
the X96, you can listen to me Saturdays and Sundays from 7 to midnight, and then 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Sundays. And then follow me on all
Perez.
social medias, man, because I do a lot of fun, dumb shit on social media.
What are your tags?
You were talking about events. That was one other thing I wanted to talk to you about. You just did the Mrs. Utah America.
Yeah, so
I saw that.
Yeah, so the
That looks
Mrs.
kind
Utah America, the pageant. I've been the MC for the last couple years now.
Very cool.
and it is it's phenomenal. Just the ladies that are in Utah, they're smart. Because a lot of times people think, oh, Miss Utah, it's how they portray it in the movies, where it's a bunch of dumbass idiots that are just standing up there because they're pretty. It's like no.
That's
just a part of it.
Smart.
Oh, yeah, that's just a part of it. A lot of them are
compared to
business
other
owners.
states.
A lot of them are, they have these awesome platforms. So it's cool that I can be a part of it in the sense of, in the MC and just have fun with it. So
I remember your birthday. You said you had one specific question that you wanted to ask him. Throws him off. What was it?
Every single time. It's I always ask them because they're always prepared to answer these like in depth, like
how do you solve world peace?
What's your platform like, and how does it affect the community?
Oh my God.
Me being the smart ass, I'm like, what's your favorite ice cream?
Oh, excellent. I like
Right?
that. That's a great question.
It's a great
That's an excellent
icebreaker.
question.
It throws their brain off and they go, chunky monkey or mixed chocolate chip. And I'm like,
I love that.
And you're like, you're a
That's awesome.
liar.
yeah, I'm like, come on. And it's usually the ones that say, oh, I just love vanilla. I'm like, you're lying. I'm like, what's your favorite ice cream? And then they're like, okay, well, I like fish food. It's like, lets their brain calm down for a second.
Jerry Garcia.
Exactly. Yeah. Jerry Garcia.
How long have you been doing this again?
I think this is my third or fourth year.
That's awesome.
Doing the MC. I was a judge once, but then they're like, hey, that was fun, but we want you to talk and do
Awesome.
the thing. Yeah. So
Dude,
different
Nick-
events. And then also I wrote a book. I'm gonna give my book a plug.
Oh,
Yes,
yes,
do the
please.
plug of your book.
Right.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I've got it
I
next.
wrote a
it's
book.
next to my bed.
I wrote a couple books. The only one that's out right now is The Rose in the Glass Dome. It's a twisted Disney thriller, right? So if you like Disney, you're gonna love it. If you hate Disney, you're gonna love it, right? So I wrote it originally to be a D&D campaign, and then
wow.
I know, right?
Really?
And then I thought, well, I don't want to ruin this and waste it on a bunch of idiots that are going to be not appreciate it. So then I turned it into a book, and the book is it's so much fun. You follow these four characters, Ben, Ava, Tico, and Holly, as they see Rose, who is essentially Belle, right? Now, don't get me wrong. Yes, when you read it, you're going to understand that it's the world of Beauty and the Beast. But it's not Belle. She's not singing about books and shit. Like, and Gaston's not talking about his tiny penis. It's like, it's...
I have a tiny penis.
It's that world. So then when you read it, you go, I get it, right? It's Beauty and the Beast, but it's Rose and, the Beast and all this stuff. But then there's a crazy twist at the end. A twist that you're like, whoa, this is not Disney. We are not in Kansas anymore.
Nice.
And then it turns into another twist that leads into the second book that I just finished. It's going through the editing and beta process right now.
So what is the like? I don't want to say age group, or what is the audience?
I mean, if you're 7 and if you're 90, you can read this book. Like it's a fast-paced novella. I wrote it that way because I wanted you to be able to see it in like the airport and go, that looks awesome. And then you read it on your flight to Chicago or whatever, and you're like, I want to read his next one. I want to read another. You know what I mean?
Okay. I love that.
It just grips you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
My
Rose
wife
in the Glass
went,
Dome.
yeah.
If you see it on social media, you'll see like my pen name is N. Alessandro Pennington because my publisher was like, Nick Perez is not really a good author name. And I'm like, ow. But
Your name sucks.
exactly. Your name sucks. This
I think
focus group said that this
What the
pen
hell?
name is better. So I was like, okay. Yeah.
Awesome.
So that's, it's
I'm
kind of
excited to
So
look
where
at
can
it.
we find the book?
So you can find the book on Amazon. You can find it on,
I believe that's where I bought it from.
yeah, Amazon is probably the easiest and best one. And if you are in Utah and you get a copy, it can hit me up on social media. I'll meet
hit
you
me
up.
up.
We'll sign it. You know what I mean? We'll take a selfie, become best friends, play karate in the garage, things like that. So.
Mention your name on air.
Exactly.
Honestly,
Yeah.
That would be a really cool thing to like kind of
the worm and fuzzies get a whole list of the new buyers.
Should Utah Musicians Radio be the next signing? I don't know.
That'd be kind of cool.
Utah Musicians,
people coming in and sign the books. That might be a good idea.
Yeah, we could do like an event where we do like a book signing or something like that.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be very cool.
I saw you had a couple very successful ones in the past.
Yeah, we did one at the Book Garden in Bountiful, and then the King's English.
That was the one I tried to get up
the
to.
King's English Bookshop. Yeah,
very cool.
Yeah,
I know it was a lot of fun. I know we've got a couple more scheduled in the future. I just can't fucking remember them right now. So
get you.
Yeah, but it's a lot of fun. It's cool because I just like to write. You know what I mean? And being able to put these characters and these words into what people go, oh my god. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. So
nice.
I love that.
Yeah, it's cool.
Very cool. All right.
Thank you, Nick.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate you very much.
Being here.
Yeah.
And this is kind of the cool thing that we're doing is, I was always in the very beginning promoting local music, just keeping musicians and all that. But now I want to be able to get influencers, people like Nick in here that are authors working on radio that know the biz. Get people like Mateo here that have been in the biz and
I'm a person.
Just we're a person. We got a person over here working the buttons and things. No, but
I'm just the
we're just
person.
I really want to be able to highlight what our community has to offer, and so you're definitely one of those people.
Well,
that
I appreciate
really,
that very much.
Absolutely.
So, and can't wait to get pegged in Napa.
This motherfucker! I knew. I was like, when's he gonna fucking?
When's he gonna throw that out?
Oh my
pegged in Napa. Oh yeah. No, we got to.
That'll be the next episode. We talk about that conversation. That's the cliffhanger to all the listeners. They're like, "What is he talking about getting pegged in Napa?"
Yeah, but this time it's got to be a group.
Yeah.
It can't just be.
I got to preface. We didn't actually fucking get pegged in Napa.
Did not.
But I'm not gonna. Yeah, we'll just take.
I'm gonna walk away from this one.
Fucking hell! Oh my god.
That's awesome.
Also, find me at Sergeant Perez X96 on all the socials. That's what you can
absolutely. All right, that's it.
So good to meet you. This is our first time, and thank you so much. And
thanks everybody out there in the Twitterverse or whatever.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, that's it.
You're listening to Radio.
Join Johnny C. and Mateo as we interview musicians, filmmakers, business owners, and community leaders supporting our local industries on UtahMusicRadio.com.